Right Livelihood, chapter 8, that's page 105. It's volume 37, chapter 8, 37.8 of the Sutta Discovery. Now, as a start, we're living in a time of what's called digital engineering. Everything is computerized, everything is recorded. In a sense, it's just like the Buddha's time. You know, when the Buddha teaches the Dharma, he teaches to the monks, the nuns, of course. And then at the same time, there are laymen, laywomen also in the audience. And the environment is not aircon like this, but it's quite cool in India, North India. Certain times it's going to be quite warm. It's always in the open air. Imagine we have our gathering in a shady place among the trees in Botanic Gardens. It's a very pleasant atmosphere. And the crowd is big. Sometimes you got 500 monks, sometimes more, including other people. And the Buddha always addresses the monks. The monks are like this video recorder. Because when the Buddha addresses the monks, what happens is the teaching, the suttas, get transmitted through time, right down to our time. We always, occasionally, we need to remind ourselves that Buddhism is the oldest historical religion, in the sense that our scripture is handed down systematically for 2,500 years. That alone is quite a miracle, how the suttas we are studying today is still available to us. And we should treasure this. Because once the suttas are lost, anybody can say anything about Buddhism. Then it won't work. Because we don't know what the real thing is. It's a simple thing like Panadol. It cures headache. Imagine someone comes along and use flour and then squeeze it together as a Panadol. You take it won't work. So religion also can be like that. In fact, today we find Buddhism is everywhere. This month we have this meditation course. We got one ex-Catholic from Philippines, another ex-Catholic from Spain. They search the internet, they come. We get people from all over the world coming for meditation because they know meditation works. And when they also know it is Buddhist meditation. So this is where Buddhism is right in our own hearts and home. So this is why we need to treasure this wonderful teaching and to go back to the source, original teaching as much as possible. Of course, I'm not saying we should throw all the modern versions or later versions. You can't avoid them, they're there. In fact, even in Singapore, as we progress, we will have our own Singaporean version of Buddhism also. In fact, even as I say, you will see the Singapore version of Buddhism coming up. But what kind of Singapore version is it we are seeing today? It's no different from the money gospel, actually, all those mega churches and so on. And this is where there's something interesting I want to show you. Now you saw today's paper. This is today's Sunday paper. The State Times, Saturday, July 20th. Morality of Meditation, written by Professor David Esteno, Professor of Psychology, Northeastern University in the US. His basic idea here is that meditation has a purpose. It should be practiced as the Buddha intended it. Now someone from the US is saying that, the professor, and he's teaching something like that also. But he wrote this paper specifically to counter, to disagree with someone from Singapore who has, in a sense, meditation, a kind of like management thing. He felt it's good, I suppose. So I'll leave it to you to read this. This is the borderized version, local version. They remove the person's name and also remove the last paragraph. So here, this is the original version, which I got last month actually. I was sending to some close friends. So here I'm giving it to you for your own reading. Okay, you can pass it out. So this kind of paper is telling us Buddhism is alive. It's a living religion. It's something real and important and something we need to practice. One of the most important living aspect of Buddhism, of course, is right livelihood. Right livelihood, we can say, is something like Buddhist economics. Okay? So in fact, at the end of our talk today, I'm addressing a bit about Buddhist economics. In fact, if we examine our lives, if you minus the time that you are sleeping or resting, You find the rest of the time all you spend working. Do you notice that? Right, you minus the time you are sleeping or resting, you are working. But we have to work. We have to support ourselves. This is the nature of life. This is the layman's, the proper life for a layman. Right, so that we can support ourselves. Why do we want to support ourselves? So that we can get the basic needs. Food, clothing, shelter, and good health. These are the basic needs. We work for it. Now, in the Buddha's time, basically people were doing the same thing, and India was very prosperous. And the lay people were doing mostly agriculture. It was an iron age, so they were using iron, and the kings used iron and make weapons and go to war and conquer bigger territories, so the land became bigger and more peaceful for a while, meaning people can move around freely over a bigger area. Can you imagine suddenly Malaysia and Singapore decide to join again, so with this big country, Wow, you can imagine how happy the traders here would be, At the moment, is Malaysia invading us. For example, you have this, the giant, superstore. And they buy up all the stores of Singapore, most of the stores are giant stores. That's Malaysian. So my point is, India is a very open country at that time, very prosperous. They were big kingdoms then. So the lay people, they were working very hard, doing various kinds of businesses. You got the kshatriyas, the noblemen, they were basically the rulers. Today we will call them the civil service, if you like, or the powerful politicians running this country. And then second, you have the Brahmins, the priests, right? Today, this will be the educators, the professors. Today you're a professor, you've got a degree, you are upper class, you've got atas, as we say. Okay? And then the third group are the business class, the Vaisyas, right? And they also are very important people. In Singapore, you find what? Singapore has got the highest percentage of family millionaires. Do you know that? 15%. Household millionaires. If you calculate as a household earning more than $1 million. So, in other words, basically, an average Singaporean is well-to-do. It doesn't mean there are no poor people here. There are. It's just that you don't see them. So, this third group is the merchant class, right? And you have the last group, the menial workers, the Shudras, right? The workers. So we have lots of workers that are mostly foreign workers, and they're also well paid. So these are the four main classes in ancient India, and you see them in Singapore also. The big difference is in Singapore, it's mobile. You're not born into the class, whereas in ancient India, you're born into it and you're stuck with it. And moreover, in Singapore, there's a kind of more or less equality in the classes. But as we know, although in this kind of arrangement, people are very successful, but it is also very stressful, right? For example, when these people come for meditation, right? I ask them, why do they come? This man is a physicist, he's one of those top scientists. He's come to work in the NUS quantum something department, And they say, this work's very stressful. This is one, we call it the leveler, right? Death is, of course, the true leveler, but stress is the living leveler, meaning it puts everyone on the same level. Anyone who works, anyone who strives for wealth will feel stress. They need meditation. And the wonderful thing is these people, they can meditate very well. So that is why all we need to do is tell people about meditation, especially the professionals, to be a professional, obviously you've got to be intelligent. You're intelligent means you have attention span. And you have attention span, you can meditate. And that's the missing link. You don't have to fill that space with God. People are tired of God. They want something more peaceful, not just an imaginary idea. And meditation is difficult. So in an important way, you can say, when you talk about right livelihood, the goal of right livelihood is peace of mind. So here you have seen that we're talking about the beginning and the ending of these two aspects. Now we look in between what right livelihood is about. Now, number one, it is right, sammā, and then livelihood. What makes this livelihood right. Whenever you see sammā, it means there is right view. Right view. So you look at Eightfold Path, right? There are 8 aspects, right? All the other 7 factors have got sammā in front of them. They are right. They are right because, and what is the very first factor in Eightfold Path? Right view. Exactly. There is a whole sutta, called the Great 40 Sutta. The Great 40, there are 40 items. Mahācattarisaka Sutta. They are all mentioned in your text here. In this sutta, the Buddha explains why right view comes first in the Eightfold Path. In our practice, we talk of sila, samadhi, panya, right? Sila, moral virtue first. But moral virtue is somewhere in the middle, right? 4, 5, 6, yeah? Items 4, 5, 6, right? So right action, right speech, right livelihood. But the first one is right view. Right view underlies all the other factors. If there's no right view in right speech, if you don't have right view, you can't have right speech. If you don't have right view, your action is wrong. Micca, kamanta, right? And so on. It applies to all the other 7 factors. So right livelihood also, you must have right view. So today we're going to examine a little deeper, as far as time permits, what's meant by this right aspect of livelihood. Number one, we don't live alone. We live with other people. So that's why we must live in such a way that we don't hurt ourselves, we don't hurt other people also, and we don't hurt the environment. These 3 points are sometimes called the 3 points of purity. In other words, if you can't decide what kind of job is suitable for me. Often students ask me this, those are going to graduate. I said the basic idea to ask yourself is, does this job I'm going to do, will it harm me? Will it harm other people? Will it harm the environment? If no, then fine. You probably can choose the job you want. Right? So these are, in fact, these are 3 questions we ask about the precepts. This action that I'm doing, will it hurt me? Will it hurt other people? Will it hurt the environment? If no, then your action is okay. Right? So, or even your non-action. Sometimes by not doing something, you won't create this bad karma. Okay? So these are 3 basic questions we ask ourselves. These are called the 3 points of purity. In other words, we also talk of ecology, and you have economics. Okay? This is all on page 105, no? 1.2.1. And even if we don't look at the notes, it's okay, because I'm only taking certain key ideas, I'll talk about them. And then to revise, you can go back and read through this. This is quite a thick article, over 50 pages. I'm only taking some key ideas. So when we talk about right livelihood, we also talk about ecology, economics. Notice the word eco is there. Eco, oikos. So oikos here is the Greek word for house, household, habitation, a place where we live. Oikos. Okay? And logos means word, reason, speech. Ecology means our environment. Okay? Of course, in Buddhism, we talk about 2 kinds of environment. We talk of external environment and internal environment. Right? When we start meditation, we look for a suitable outer environment. And then we create a very wholesome inner environment. What about economics? Oikos nomos. Nomos, manager. So we can take this old Greek meaning. It makes perfect sense in Buddhism. Managing our house, managing the household, right? After all, economics, right livelihood is for the household mostly. Right? Oh, there is something right livelihood for the monks too, for the nuns church. We'll talk about that in a while. Managing our household properly, wholesomely, the family. What is the Buddhist concept of family? The Buddhist concept of family is quite broad. If you read the Siddhartha Sutta, for example, you see that the Buddha was very open-minded, enlightened in the sense of the 18th century British way of thinking. These British were the one who introduced the word enlightenment. Nowadays, the more careful Buddhists, they avoid using the word enlightened. They use the word awaken. Okay? What I've done is, I've used both words, but when I talk about Mahayana, I use enlightened because they still like to use the word anyway. And when I talk about early Buddhism, the Buddha, I use awaken. Because awaken is closer to the word bodhi. Because bodhi meaning understand, awaken to something. And moreover, Buddha often talk about someone falling asleep and then waking up, and then about the chicken in the egg, knocking, piercing the shell and coming out, awakening to the new world, so to speak. So, proper management of our household, family life. The family here is not just parents and children, nuclear family, but even servants working in the house. Of course, in the Buddhist time, there were slaves because of debts and so on. There were two kinds of these workers, and one are the slaves. When they can't pay back their debt, they become servants of the family. The word slave, dasa, sounds a bit really dark in our modern years. No? Actually, dasa, you have the word Buddha dasa, for example, slave of the Buddha. You translate directly slave of the Buddha, I say, wow, that sounds terrible in our modern years. Actually, dasa here means unpaid, full-time home worker, if you like, someone who is dedicated or who has to work for the family, or in the case of Buddha dasa, for the Buddha, without pay. Why without pay? Because they're part of the family. Of course, they owe a debt to the family. It's like we owe a debt to the Buddha. So you work for the Buddha without pay, so to speak. And these slaves, this dasa, in the Buddha's time, they had more privileges than the kamakara. Kamakara are the paid laborers. You see, when you pay the laborer, you have to make sure the laborer does his job, especially in Singapore, right? So the laborer cannot say, boss, can I have 5 minutes break, or can I have 10 minutes break? They can't. But the slave can. The slave can say, oh, madam, today I can't work, I'm so tired. And the lady say, okay. So in other words, they are part of the family. So if you notice in the Ecology Sutta, the relationship between employer and employee. Okay? You've got to respect these workers, give them rest, give them nice things to eat, occasionally, things like that. And in terms of the family, the slaves are also included in the family. In other words, people under the same roof. So it's not just biological family, it is kind of an extended family. So whoever is living with us is a family. And from this kind of idea, we also get the notion that the guest is sacred. We treat our guests with special respect. When they come to us, we give them the best food that we can, the best drinks, the best comfort. We invite them to have meals with us, things like that. So we treat the guests in a very dignified, respectful way. This is the traditional way of practice. No? We are losing this quality in Singapore as we westernize ourselves. So hopefully the Buddhists will remember this, this importance of the guest. Read up the Ecology Sutta. Okay? I'm not saying westernization is bad. In fact, in many ways it can be good. But at the same time, we should not forget what is good in our whole culture. So if you meld the two together, it's very wonderful. What is good for both worlds, and let go what is bad. What's happening is we're not just westernizing ourselves, we might say we are globalizing ourselves. So in the West also, you find people becoming more oriental. They don't use the word orientalized. So this is where we see a more common way of talking. Like I said, all these international people come for meditation. They come for one common idea, peace of mind, and it is through the Buddha. So this is the meaning of globalization, where people speak the same language, meaning the Buddhist language, so to speak. Yeah? So right livelihood has this, it's this kind of awareness where we are dealing with other people, and we have to be positive towards them, meaning it promotes personal growth, and growth in other people in a wholesome sense. And this kind of relationship is also natural. It is based on natural morality. What is natural morality? The morality of the 5 precepts. What does it mean to say natural morality? It means there is something called conventional morality also. Natural morality means You don't really have to prove it. You go anywhere in the world, this idea is true. Conventional morality means it's only true in certain cultures, certain country. 5 precepts, natural morality. Traffic rules, conventional morality. For example, here we drive on the left side of the road. In Malaysia also same. But here you drive beyond a certain speed, you get fined. Quite low speed. Malaysia quite high speed. So suddenly Singapore will go to Malaysian highway and drive, and they don't mind paying the fine because it's still cheap and so on. So these are conventional morality. In other words, it changes from country to country, especially in Europe, In Europe, you drive on the right, and once I had a Dutch friend, he took me to drive across the English Channel. We were on the right side in Holland, and then we crossed the channel, we landed in UK, and then we were driving on the left side. So I got to keep my mind in the left side. Then suddenly we find there's a car coming from in front. I said, oh dear, we're on the wrong side. Actually, it's the right side. We're on the right side, you know what I mean? Right hand side. So you got to quickly make a U-turn to go to the left side. So there you are. You see, this is conventional morality. Now, if you break a traffic law, you're not creating bad karma. You have to pay a fine, yes, but that's not exactly bad karma unless you're very poor, But if you break the precepts, there is consequences, repercussions. Natural morality means wherever you go, people will agree to that same value. The first precept talks about value of life. Second precept talks about value of property. Third precept talks about value of freedom, personal freedom. Fourth precept about truth. The fifth precept about mindfulness, wisdom, clear mind. Wherever you go, any normal, wise person will agree with you. So that's what it's called natural morality. So the right livelihood is based on natural morality. Respect for life, for property, for personal freedom, for respect for the person, if you like. And then truth, finally, has to do with keeping the mind calm and clear. Under the Now, so what does the sutta got to say about right livelihood? This is on page 107. We come to the Vāseṭṭha Sutta, the grade 40, M117. Can you see that at the bottom of the page, 107? In this regard, bhikshus, right view comes first. And how bhikshu does right view come first? One understands wrong livelihood as wrong livelihood, right livelihood as right livelihood. This is one's right view. So you must know what is right, what is wrong in terms of livelihood. So how do we know what's right, what's wrong in livelihood? Right livelihood goes against the 5 precepts. Wrong livelihood goes against the 5 precepts. Right livelihood keeps to the 5 precepts. Right? So that's a basic idea. Yeah? And then what is wrong livelihood? Deceitful pretensions to attainments. Notice here, pretending to have powers you don't have. This is where sometimes people may pretend to have certain abilities. Nah? I can see your future, or I can bring you good luck, sort of thing. This is the irony of fortune tellers. Fortune tellers say, I can give you good luck. If that's the case, why don't the fortune tellers give themselves good luck? They don't have to be fortune tellers, you know what I mean? So it's an irony. So Buddha says, no, don't depend on luck. Mangala Sutta, right? It's your mind. You can change things. And then another sutta on the Patana Sutta, the Buddha says, don't waste your time praying. Ask for this, ask for that. Oh, may I be beautiful, may I be strong, may I be rich. You pray and pray, you won't get it. And people like to boast. If they become rich, they say, oh, my God, made me rich. Huh? God didn't say anything at all. Yeah?
If that's the case, then why do people pray to the Buddha and ask for good health?
Okay, yeah, we'll come to that. Well, I wish they would hear me saying this from the Patana Sutta. Now, what Buddhists pray for and what God believers pray for are very different. Of course, occasionally the teacher will tell you how to do it properly in the Buddhist way. For example, we use the act of truth. We say, okay, I've made this offering, I've done something good, I've kept my precepts. So by the power of all this goodness I've done, may I, okay, fill in the blanks, whatever you want, something wholesome. We won't ask for $1 million or even $2 million lottery prize. Why? Because in Singapore, that money is not much. Right? If you ask for wisdom, you can't measure the value of wisdom. So, in other words, prayer, you must define properly what you ask for. Okay? Because if you ask for worldly things, you notice all these people ask for worldly things. When they get it, notice when you ask for something and then finally you get it, you find, is that all? And you are not satisfied after that. Once you get it, you don't feel satisfied about it. In other words, if all prayers were answered, number one, the world will go crazy. The things people pray for. May my horrible neighbor get struck by lightning. may something, all these nasty things, right? Of course, ask for money. If everybody got the money they prayed for, the whole country will collapse. Like the comedy show, you saw that, Jim Carrey's story. He granted the wish of everybody. He acted as God, and one day he got so tired, so let everybody have their wish. So, of course, if let's say you're not informed of the sutta, you want to pray wisely. In a sense that make sure whatever you ask for is properly asked. Instead of saying, may my son get all A's. Rather say, may his mind be calm and peaceful, may he be inclined to study and he studies well so that he will succeed, something like that. So we've got to ask for something proper way. When you do that, what happens is you are telling yourself, I'm setting my mind on this cause. This is what I want. Okay, but what I said here compared to what the Buddha says. The Buddha says, if you pray for what do people pray for, money, beauty, power, things like that. If you can get all these things by merely prayer, the Buddha says, why don't you just pray? Why don't you just do that? It doesn't happen. Number two, the Buddha says, you see the good thing about the Buddha, whenever he says something negative, he also tells you something positive what to do. He says, instead of praying, what you should do is, if you want to be healthy and handsome, you want to be rich, you want to be powerful, you've got to live a life which is conducive to that kind of wish you're looking for. In a sense, it's pragmatic. In that sense, it's pragmatic. So what I'm saying is, you work for it and you get it. Right? So you compare, you balance these two ideas, and you get it the right way. So the Buddha is not saying prayer totally is no good. He's saying this is how you do it. I remember reading one of those junior classic comics when I was very young, and these are the stories and pictures that still stuck in my mind. This is a Greek, what do you call this story by, what's the name of that? Aesop's fable. This man, his cart got stuck in the mud. It was very hard to push it out and put it out. So he prayed, oh Hercules, this kind of thing, Hercules was so strong. Please help this poor mortal. And then the story says that he appears, Hercules appears. Okay, my good man, how can I help you? He said, look, my wheel is stuck there. Hercules, there's an air bubble there, speech bubble. He's thinking, He says, but this man, he just need to push harder, that's all. And then he called the gods or this sort of thing. The gods are nothing else to do. So he says, Hercules said, my good man, have you not tried putting your shoulder to the job, push really hard? He said, yes, I tried. And then Hercules said, try again. So he tried very hard. And then gently just nudged the wheel a bit, and the wheel came out, And then the carter said, oh, thank you, Hercules. Thank you for your help. Anyway, I could have done myself. Hercules said, good. Then the moral of the story at the bottom, the gods are those who help themselves. I think that's a good thing to remember. Yeah, the God helps themselves. Okay, another thing to remember is this. Sometimes bad things happen to good people because our karma has ripened. It's a ripening of our karma. So you can fight it, yes. It takes a lot of effort, and you might give up halfway. So again, is it worth fighting it or not? Maybe sometimes we might not get what we want. Why are we so flustered about we want something? Because we compare to someone else. We say, oh yeah, this guy got new house, I also want a new house, I can get a new house. This guy got new car, new phone, right? When we compare, then we feel this difference more powerfully. Otherwise, we're happy with ourselves. So, when I say sometimes karma is ripening, certain things make you feel sad. But if you think negatively, you say, hey, I've done everything fairly correctly. Why this person treat me like that? It could be past karma. Let me give you a very funny story. There is this monk, he goes on alms round, and then people wait and offer food. And whenever he reaches someone who gives dana, this person will put in one scoop and he says, "Venerable sir, this is for you." And he puts second scoop. The second one is for the lady following you. And he smiles, he's like a girl, so with cheeky smile. And this monk doesn't understand. Wherever he goes, people keep saying that. So he goes to the Buddha and says, "Why is these people teasing me? They give me one scoop and they say the second scoop is for the lady following me. That's behind, there's nobody there." And the Buddha also smiled, would just say, "Well, you can't see the lady. But this lady is a phantom, it's just a figure which other people see, you don't see, because your past karma. In the past, you have a relationship with somebody, illicit relationship. So now this karma is ripened." So wherever you go, people see this lady behind you. It's not there, but the phantom there. So be patient. So the Buddha always tells us, be patient. So Angulimala also, be patient. Your karma is ripening. So this monk just kept quiet, maybe himself smile. And after a while, this thing just disappeared. So this is one story, but sometimes the karma just let it go, let it happen. Be patient. Our pride, our anger may tell us, and we hear all these management talks. Oh yeah, we should not let this happen. We should fight it. Well, we can try. We just lengthen it. Some kind of sickness, we just need rest. That's all. You just need to rest. Of course, there's another way you can deal with bad karma. I've said this many times before. What is it? Remember? Cultivation of loving kindness. Metta bhavana. You do this, you will notice that even when your bad karma ripens, you feel a bit of disadvantage, yes, but you don't suffer any more than that. Your karma will be restrained and limited to this life itself. Right? This is what the Buddha says. Regularly radiate loving kindness, even to those people who are hurting you. Why? Because this is just an image in your own mind. It's a negative image. You want to clear away the negative image. It's like a toilet. You just clean the toilet. And everything is beautiful. And number two, we'll meet again in the future. So if we maintain that hatred in this life, we'll continue to hate each other in the next life also. I mean, that's terrible. Right? Go on doing that. So loving kindness stops that. Okay? That's why, especially loving husband and wife, you've got to be kind to each other no matter what, because probably meet again in the future. If you don't get married together in the future, you'll probably be close neighbors. So you better be nice to each other. Otherwise, you'll follow life after life with a lot of pain. Okay? So that's how karma works. Huh? Okay. So coming back to section 39, deceitful pretension. Number flattery for gain. This like, say nice thing and you want to get stuff. This one, again, is not good. Flattery means saying something beyond the truth, that someone likes to hear. Subtle insinuation or hinting for gain. They're also quite tricky. Suppose, let's say, I own this building, then I'm a monk, and so a rich man comes and says, this place is not very big, right? That's hinting in direct way. Okay. Because monks are not supposed to directly ask for anything. Unless the layperson says, okay, I give you my invitation, if you need anything, even for this building, you tell me. Then that's the invitation limited by the place, so on. So this pavarana. Pressurizing for offering, this is terrible. Sometimes you don't get, some people, you go to temple, you're forced to donate. Scary, this time. Yeah, and then pursuit of gain with gain. Once this poor young man, he got terrible. He came to me. I said, what happened? He said, I went to this Thai temple. This man came to me. He put his Buddha image on me, and then he started chanting something. And then he expected me to put donation. I don't know what to do. So I said, well, you give back the image to him, and you don't take it. See? So this is not right. You're not supposed to do this. So you don't have to take it. Give it back. You're pursuing gain with gain, which is wrong. He abstains from such pretensions and flattery. This picture is wrong livelihood. So here, notice that these things do happen, and the Buddha is telling us, don't do this. This is wrong. This may I mean, you may bluff the unintelligent, but the intelligent people will know this and they'll keep away. So our temple end up getting all the unintelligent people. We have problems. We can't even get work done. We want everybody to come. Right? Then the sutta goes on to say there are two kinds of right livelihood. Right livelihood with influxes, 31a, and then right livelihood without influxes. What is right? Influxes here means defilements. That means not awakened yet. Defilements here means what? Greed, hate, delusion, basically. Notice 31b. And what bhikshu is right livelihood with influxes, partaking of merit, ripening in birthplaces. Here bhikshus or noble disciples having given up wrong livelihood keeps to right livelihood. This is the meaning. Basically this involves people like us. We're not awakened. We still have great hate delusion. We want to be reborn in a nice rebirth, things like that. And we cultivate merit. We use merit for prayers, things like that. And we go on being born. That's the meaning of ripening in birth basis. It's the basis for birth. So this is the worldly kind of right livelihood, the kind of work we are doing out there. Okay? Even the kind of work that, let's say, we have Buddhists. Many years ago, I used to talk about full-time layman Buddhist work, layman ministry, setting up Buddhist businesses. And then you have this, one of the first Buddhist bookshop, I think the name was Livelihood also, right? The Young Buddhist Cultural, is that Young Buddhist there?
Yeah,
A Young Buddhist Cultural Service. The bookshop's still running. The building is going to be broken down now. I don't know when they're moving out. Do you know when they're moving out?
And the green, yes, moving to Greater Eye, Chinatown.
When is it?
In August.
August.
Oh, yeah, next year.
Next year?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're buying over the whole place, they're going to build something new. That's a very old place. And then there's a vegetarian restaurant in front of that bookshop.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of right livelihood thing. They're selling Buddhist books. And there are a few other shops like that. So that is this kind of right livelihood for people like us who are not awakened, basically for the lay people. And then you have the other kind, 32, and which was the right livelihood that is noble, without influx, super mundane, a path factor. Notice path factor. This is the real factor in the Eightfold Path. This is the way of life of the monk who are going to be saints. Right? Here, notice what is said here. Loathing wrong livelihood, restraining from it, abstaining from it, refraining from it, avoiding it. Now here the definition is a bit broad. Basically, it's keeping to the monk's monastic rules. Okay? And at the last line, it says, three things are involved: right view, right effort, right mindfulness. All these three go together to cultivate right livelihood. In right livelihood, you must have right effort. Right effort means what? Something bad that has not happened, you keep it that way. Suppose we have never smoked before, or maybe we just secretly smoke one cigarette as a school boy. That's it. We don't make an effort to start it. And if we are smoking now, we make an effort to stop, or even drinking, whatever, stop it. Second right effort. So first right effort is to, something not done, you maintain it that way. Second right effort, something bad is going on, you stop it. Okay? The effort to abandon. Third one is something good we have not done before. Let's say we've never meditated before. So we plan our time, we tell ourselves, one day I must arrange my time to meditate. That's right effort, mental right effort. You also can divide right effort into three ways: body, speech, and mind, right? So here you say, okay, I'm going to arrange my time so that I can meditate. And then you actually do the meditation. That's the fourth right effort. All right? So you can see they come in pairs, right? Two negative, two positive. So right livelihood has got this right efforts. And then there is right mindfulness. That means it involves some kind of awareness, present moment awareness, clarity of mind, focus. So purpose of right livelihood is to help us grow as individuals. So it's quite clear what kind of things we should be selling and not selling, for example, in right livelihood, isn't it? For example, in the case of a Buddhist bookshop, it's selling Buddhist books, Buddhist objects for meditation. You know, people keep asking me, say, where can I get this nice cushion, this zabuton? The only place I can think of now is that evergreen. Okay? Because the last time Buddhist library used to make very nice, they're perfect cushion for meditation. Very firm and nice. And it's very hard to get it in Singapore. So now when you talk about the monk's right livelihood or the spiritual right livelihood, we're talking about how a monk should live. In simple terms, we never pay a monk for monk services. Now you have a problem now because in Singapore, if you get a foreign monk to come and stay in the center, you have to declare that he is earning some money. And I think the amount is at least 2,000 something. I don't know if it's gone up to 2,005.
Employment pass.
Sorry?
Get an employment pass.
Yeah, get employment pass. 2005, right?
So,
So, yeah, if not, you won't be able to stay. The question now is this employment or not? This is a big deal, you know. Okay, this is how you answer it, all right? Remember earlier at the start of the study, I told you there are two kinds of morality, remember? Natural morality and conventional morality, right? Here, in a sense, we have to obey the law. The Buddha also mentioned in Vinaya, he told the monks, one of the precepts in the Patimokkha is, you shall, in the Vinaya, rather, you shall obey kings. That means obey the government. So the law is, you must make sure this monk is supported. So we say that that is a conventional law, the following conventional law. So technically, among us, in our mind, we say we are not paying the monk. It's a donation, something like that. That's the best way I can think of. But that's the way the world works, you know. Of course, the other way is you get a local monk. Then you don't have to give him a pay like that. Then you have no problem. You circumvent that problem because you can give dana after that. No money is involved. Right? That's why I've been talking about local culture.
for foreign monks, what they do, they pay them on paper, let's say 2,000.
Oh, I see.
But then they donate, let's say, money back.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, if you hear it, that's okay. So this is where we have to rearrange all these things. We have to adjust ourselves so that the Dharma will prosper without breaking the spirit of the Dharma, of course. Yeah?